So I haven't talked about this person yet on my YouTube channel, but there's been a few things happening, and I planned this video and then it was too late to do it, but now even more has happened. They're kind of links to everything, so I'm just going to do a whole big deep dive into Nara Smith, who is the Princess Tradwife of TikTok. I know she's not really a Tradwife, but that's what people have associated with her, so that's kind of what I'm referring to her as. But to me, she's not really a Tradwife. I think she's just a very smart marketing influencer who also happens to like making stuff from scratch. Clearly she enjoys cooking and baking, clearly, and she just does it in a really interesting way. She happens to be young with kids and a husband, and she also happens to be rich and Mormon, and that leads everyone to think that she's this like super right-wing Tradwife, and I actually don't really see that a lot of the time. I even think the outfits that she wears aren't very Mormon. A lot of the time they're quite revealing, even during her pregnancy. That's not something that obviously I have an issue with ever, like where you're revealing clothes, but it's not very Mormon, and it's also not very like red-pilled right-wing Tradwife. She obviously does social media as a job. She's a multi-millionaire from that. Her husband seems to be super supportive of her. We don't really see how much he does behind the scenes, but she does most of the cooking and baking. I'm assuming he helps with other things if this is his like main thing that they do is social media. He used to be like massive on Tumblr days. He was a model at the time. They're both so tall, so slender, so beautiful. Then they met. He even did like a few videos with Kylie Jenner. So yeah, they're both super rich, super beautiful, super stunning. They live in like this high-rise apartment. Everything's stunning, everything's great. I personally don't think they give very Tradwife feelings. Even Ballerina Farm gives me more concerning Tradwife feelings than Nara Smith. I've never looked at Nara Smith as someone who seems to be like really stuck in the patriarchy or anything. I think she leads her life the way she wants, and it's extremely profitable to her. She also does suffer with a skin condition. It flares up when she eats things that are super processed, or she uses things that are super processed, and that is mainly the reason why they make everything from scratch. Obviously this has now become a bit where she'll make random things from scratch that she doesn't really need to, but it all started from a good cause of her skin condition flaring up and being super painful, mainly while she was pregnant as well. And so they've basically just tried to minimize processing as much as possible, and they just hand make everything, well, they home make everything from scratch for that reason. And I can respect it. I agree things are overly processed in today's world, and some of it can be fear-mongering, but some of it can just be like, maybe we shouldn't have this much processed stuff in our diet, what we use and eat and wear. And yeah, so I definitely see both sides of it. I see how if you're a new mum and you see Nara Smith and you see her hand make everything and home make everything, you might feel like, what am I doing wrong? But she's also a multi-millionaire. This is her job. So her setting up a camera and making bread from scratch is making her money. It doesn't make you money, so you don't have to do it. And if you're not having a skin condition or you don't feel bad about eating store-bought things, then I don't think you should suddenly feel bad. Like, that is your life and that is her life. And so those are all the disclaimers, I guess, for today's video. But now let's get into, I guess, the back end stuff. So the first thing that people are super, it's not a controversy, it's just like, you know, when people have like blips in their career. The first blip that I know of from Nara Smith's career is her kid names. So child names are very interesting. She has, she's actually married to a guy with a pretty interesting name. His name's Lucky, and her name's Nara, which isn't that, you know, crazy. But these are the videos that blew up around her names. Sorry guys, I just realized that my mic wasn't on, but I'm not going to re-record the intro, so I'm just going to add in good audio now. I hope that helps. I'm still not good at turning everything on, mainly when I'm filming multiple videos in a row, because you have to turn it off, save it, then turn it back on, and I think it's the turning back on that doesn't quite click in my brain, so hope you guys like the crispiness a little bit more. So baby names that I love but won't be using.
There are some baby names that are on my list that I won't be using. For reference, our kids have pretty unique names. My daughter's name is Rumble Honey Smith and my son's name is Slim Easy Smith. So these might be a little out there, but let's get started. For girls' name, I really love the name Odie, Pepper, Dawn. They're all really cute to me. I really like Cherry as a middle name. My husband doesn't really like that name. I also like Bubble as a second name. That might be controversial. And I love the name Pear as a first name. And then for boys, I love the name Frosty still, if you guys remember. What else was there? Sunny, Silver, Zen. Those are a few, but we won't be using them for this baby.
And this was obviously when she was pregnant and going through kind of the names. This was the second video that she did.
There's some baby names I loved, but I didn't use this time around. For reference, our kids have pretty unique names. Our daughter's name is Rumble Honey Smith. Our son's name is Slim Easy Smith. And then we just had little Whimsy Lou Smith. So these might be a little out there, a little bit more controversial, but in case someone needs any ideas for their kids. These are some girls' names that I loved. We were almost going to name her Tink. And then I loved the name Bow, as in B-O-W, as a second name. I also really liked fruit names. So I loved the name Lemon, Plum, and Clementine. I also really liked Pippin, or Pip for short, Dottie, or Dot for short. And then Ivy as well, just because that would have almost been my name. And then for boys are a little bit trickier to name in my opinion, but we had the name Halo on our list, Dusk, also Dew, Mercer, and Flick. So yeah, those were some names that we didn't end up using, but that were still on my list.
And obviously Slim Easy is crazy, Rumble Honey, Slim Easy, Nara Please, Be For Real. I'd cry if my name was Tank. Clementine Ivy Smith would have been elite. I agree. Actually, Clementine Ivy is the names that I really, some of these are names I really like even the little things like Bubble I thought were cute, and I think with the modern age it's just going to keep on getting more modern, and I think we've seen enough weird celebrity names now where it doesn't even really matter anymore. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I think with the Kardashians, like Northwest was the first kind of crazy name out there that everyone was like whoa, and then like Gwyneth Paltrow naming her daughter Apple, but now that we kind of heard those names, I think everything's become a little bit less crazy and people are just kind of naming whatever. I think Tank is crazy, but I think Clementine Ivy would have been great. So people had an issue with that. I personally don't have an issue with her kids' names. They're never gonna have to worry about getting like a regular job. They're always gonna have a job that is more forgiving just because of their parents' status and financial backing, I guess. You're never gonna get discriminated on based on your name. Whereas if you're looking for a 9-to-5 and your parents don't have the status and the financial backing, that might be a little bit more difficult. But I think with them, I don't think it's a massive deal. There are some recipes that make sense. Like people are like completely okay with her making pasta from scratch and lasagna from scratch and all sorts of different things. But then there are some things that are definitely like more jokey. Like when she made chewing gum from scratch, toothpaste from scratch. People had an issue with her boba recipe, but that's for a different reason. I personally think making boba from scratch is really cool, like tapioca pearls, and I actually looked up a recipe and I'm gonna do that myself because I actually think it's really cool, and I think the store-bought ones just aren't that superior. But here's a few of the more like controversial ones, I guess you could say.
We were about to go to bed when I realized that we were all out of toothpaste, so my husband went downstairs to make some. Lucky is very precise in his measurements, so he started out by measuring some bentonite clay. He added that to a bowl with a tablespoon of water. We weren't making a huge batch, so this was more than enough. He mixed it until it was all smooth and broke a spoon in the process. Then he moved on to measuring out some coconut oil and adding that to our clay mixture. He also added a teaspoon of baking soda. He gave that a really good mix, made sure everything was combined before he added the last two ingredients, which were some stevia and peppermint essential oil. We love our toothpaste quite minty, so he added a lot of essential oil before mixing that up one last time and transferring that over to a glass container. I know everyone's teeth are different, so this might not work for everyone, but the smell of this and the texture of this, I love having it on hand.
I mean, if that works for them, I don't personally see an issue. I don't know, maybe I'm just more relaxed about stuff like this. I just don't really see an issue. It's not like she's being like, if you use regular toothpaste, you are abusing your children. She's just being like, we ran out of toothpaste. It's like a funny gag, like it's a funny joke, right? Because obviously, if you run out of toothpaste, what's easier to get? A brand new toothpaste from like a 24/7 supermarket, or she's like clay, and there was something else in there, and like Steve, like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously it's so much easier to just buy a new toothpaste. That's the gag, that's the joke of it all. But she's also not shaming parents. I've never seen a TikTok of Nara Smith shaming parents for not doing what she does. And I think I spoke about this in a recent video, and maybe it was also in a video that I saw. Every parent has their strengths. Her strength is clearly making things like cooking, baking, and then anything adjacent to that. So making toothpaste from scratch is obviously not making food, but it's something you make from scratch, kind of in that same format. Ow, my back. But then for another parent, their skill that they're really good at, their strength might be sewing, and they might make clothes from scratch, or they might be able to fix clothes better than other parents, or it might be DIYs, or it might just be baking or just be cooking. There are definitely strengths that every parent has. She never shows doing DIYs or sewing clothes. Why? Because those are not her strengths. She loves cooking and baking. That's what she's good at. And she's always done it on her TikTok page. And now it's become more of a joke and more of a gag. But that is just her strength as a parent. You never see her showing tips on how to clean your house because that's not her strength. And she probably has cleaners to do that. So I just never want people to compare themselves, because I don't think that's the point of Nara's content. It's supposed to be unattainable. It's supposed to be funny. Like, I just find it funny, I guess. Then there's this one.
My toddlers wanted cereal for breakfast again, so I decided to make some Cinnamon Toast Crunch since that's my husband's favorite cereal and the kids have never had it. So I combine all of my dry ingredients into a bowl, give that a really good mix, and then slowly add some oil and water. I incorporate everything with my spatula and then move on to using my hands. Then I add in the cinnamon and make sure it's incorporated before putting my dough on some parchment paper. I use another sheet of parchment paper on top and roll it out as thin as I can. Once it's rolled out, I'm using a pizza cutter to just cut it into squares or rectangles. You can do it in whatever shape you want. I ended up making 2 batches. Sprinkled it with some sweetener. You can use sugar. I used monk fruit sweetener. I put it on my parchment paper and baked it in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes before I turned it down to 250 and baked it for another 35. I pulled it at the oven, let it cool, and then broke the squares apart before adding them to bowls with some milk. And this is now a favorite in our house.
I mean, this was like the one that really blew up, and it was, you know, how children have to wait a whole day before they're allowed to eat cereal, but I think it's funny. And I also would love to try those. I think they look great. And once again, if as a parent you have the time to do that and you have the like planning skills to figure out when your kids are going to want cereal, I don't know. I thought this was funny, and this is really what blew up Nara Smith. Now, there are also funny tidbits, like when she wears off the runway designer clothes like Chanel and like these extravagant outfits to cook in, which is once again another like, this is not supposed to be realistic. It's just supposed to be funny. We have this one, which is so crazy. I mean, I love it, but it's crazy. And then we have this one, which blew up. Obviously, this is not what you wear to cook at home or bake, and no one expects you to. Now, there are a few dramas with this. So we have another TikToker called Onezwa, and she's a South African TikToker who has her own kind of like mini farm, and she will collect eggs and milk, and she will make everything from scratch. But it's nowhere near the same aesthetic as Nara Smith. So let me remind you, this is Nara Smith's aesthetic, okay? This is Nara Smith's aesthetic. It's this like high-rise New York skyscraper mum who takes her kids to football in a Range Rover. That's the vibe that we get from Nara Smith. This is Onezwa, who is from South Africa, and she does more content like this.
Let's go fishing for ubusonto, or prawns, as some of you may know them. Growing up, let's make a macheu. Hi, I'm Onezwa, and I make meals using items that I've grown, raised, or foraged. Macheu are the OG smoothie.
So you can see she forages, she has her own farm, and it's a lot more kind of, everything's homemade, everything's a lot more natural. You guys can see the vibe. This is completely different to Nara Smith, who clearly loves designer. She loves this like exclusive lifestyle. You guys can see there's such a massive difference between them. If I looked at them separately, I would never think that one's copying the other. They both are just in the niche, I guess, of making very like specific recipes from scratch, but they're completely different. So it's all started from mozzarella, and Onezwa made a mozzarella for pizza, and then Nara made it a day later before lasagna. So they both made a mozzarella from scratch, like mozzarella cheese, and people called Onezwa out apparently for copying Nara, but then she addressed it and said that she did it before and that that's the authentic life that she lives, so she couldn't have copied Nara if she posted it a day before, which I agree with. So then in a deleted video, she says that Nara is actually copying her. So this is an article about it from The Cut, unpacking the Nara Smith boba tea controversy. So apparently in a video in February, she opened with a clip of her milking a cow, and Onezwa said in a voiceover that she's been likened to a content creator with a huge following because that's who people associate cooking from scratch with on this app. Citing accusations that she had stolen the idea for a recent cheese video from Smith, she said, "Neither Nara Smith nor I are the first people to make mozzarella from scratch," which I think is a pretty reasonable approach to make. There are so many people making mozzarella in the world, and even Ballerina Farm made mozzarella from scratch ages ago. I saw that, and then she had posted her mozzarella video one day before Smith's appeared. "I don't need to steal content," she said. Still, the video caption clarified that she had all love for Nara Smith. She just didn't want to be compared to her or accused of stealing ideas. And in the caption she does say, "This is the first and last time I will ever address this. It's all love for Nara Smith." And then what is Mbola saying now? So she has since changed her tune on Smith. In a video she posted last week, which has since been taken down but circulated on TikTok via screen recordings, she accused Smith of copying her videos without crediting her. "For months now, I've watched a very, very popular content creator use my ideas," she said, announcing that she's stepping back from making anything new. She noted that, unlike Smith, she can't get paid for views in South Africa, claiming the model has been making money off stealing my content because TikTok pays through the Creator Fund, but it's available in the US, UK, Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. Apparently it's not available in South Africa. And now it is unclear if Smith receives payment through this fund, because she's eligible, but you can opt out or opt in, and some people choose to not opt in because they think it affects their views. But if she is, then she's making hundreds of thousands for the views that she gets, and then plus obviously she does ads and brand deals on top of that. Mbola claims Smith has been copying her for months. Her breaking point appears to have been a boba tea video that Smith posted on June 12th, 2 days after Mbola posted her own video making homemade tapioca bubbles with guava tea and goat milk. In her video, Mbola called this timing a coincidence that happens very often, though she didn't cite other examples. She added that Smith always manages to change the videos just enough so that I cannot say that they are my ideas. Is Mbola the first person to make tapioca pearls from scratch? No, most definitely not. But it is coincidental timing, right, to be posted that close together. And then other fans of Mbola claimed that her videos inspired Smith to start using the same hushed, even-keeled voice, which to be fair is kind of a TikTok cooking staple by this point. Now other people are also using that voice, but people did find videos where Nara Smith didn't have the same voice that she has now, and her videos felt very different. But people do kind of find a style that gets them viral and then stick with it. It's kind of like when Meredith Duxbury did the foundation thing, and then since then she's done nothing but the foundation thing until recently. So I think once people find their niche and what makes them viral, they kind of just go with it, and it's become bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's how you can like build on that. So here is her old voice.
Hi guys, let's make some honey roasted za'atar carrots on some hummus with some harissa chicken.
I start off by peeling my rainbow carrots and cutting off the green stems. Then I give them a good wash, and any bigger carrots I just split down the middle so they all cook evenly.
So you can see she's just got like a more regular voice, but she is still so soft-spoken, and it still kind of gives me similar vibes. Like even the outfit that she's wearing is not really a cooking outfit, and she's still in that apartment. Like I think things have changed, but things have changed because they've gone viral, but it's not changed enough to where I'm like, oh, she seems to be copying someone else. And then Nara was asked about copying the boba video from Onezwa, but replied back that she didn't and isn't the first or last person to make boba from scratch. But Nara also commented support on Onezwa's videos before. So when Onezwa said it's all love for Nara Smith, she doesn't own the mozzarella recipe and neither do I. Apparently Nara had at the time commented some support for Onezwa, and then since then Onezwa has changed her tune, and Nara's saying, you know, I get my recipes from just the internet, just wherever I see it, and yeah, that she didn't copy Onezwa. And Onezwa now states that Nara sent her a cease and desist on Twitter, but then she has gone private on Twitter, so I wasn't able to see that, but I've seen some people comment on that on Twitter. But then a representative for Nara spoke to The Cut and denied completely this accusation. She did not send her a cease and desist, so someone must have like either trolled Onezwa or Onezwa would have made that up. I don't know. But yeah, she has a private Twitter. Let's see if it's public now, because it was private at the time. Nope, it's still private. And her tagline is "Gatekeep, Gaslight, Girl Boss." Now some people are defending Nara Smith, but some are upset with her, and some people are saying there is a difference between a farm style and a New York housewife style, which is what the difference here is. Onezwa has more of a farm style, kind of like Ballerina Farm in a sense, and then Nara Smith is very different with, like I said, a New York housewife style with the couture outfits. So here are some TikToks about this.
Guys have been looking for a reason to cancel Nara Smith for a while now, and now she's being accused of stealing from another content creator and making money off of it. So Onezwa, a small content creator from South Africa who does a lot of from-scratch cooking, recently called out Nara Smith, saying that for years she's been stealing her content and profiting from it.
For months now, I have watched a very, very popular content creator use my ideas.
And there are a lot of comments actually agreeing with this, saying things like the mozzarella cheese and the boba are all stolen from Onezwa, not Nara Smith cravings like she phrased it. Since according to the internet, Onezwa made boba tea, and 2 days later, Nara Smith did the same thing. So naturally, after watching this video and reading those comments, I had to do a deep dive. So I stayed up watching the last few months of Onezwa's content, and my takeaway was that her content was great, but I really don't see the resemblance. Also, is food content something that you can really steal? I feel like so many people make from scratch videos and are constantly taking inspiration from one another that I don't think it's fair to say that one person stole from the other.
So there's one, and then there's this video.
I must say, I gotta give her 10s all across the board, y'all. She handled that so gracefully. And she said, you know what, I'm about to make me some lollipop, and I'm about to make me some bubble gum and a lollipop bubble gum something. Baby, when I tell you she got her husband up in there, honey, they cut up without even saying a word, but we already knew what it was. Okay, we see you, Nara, but y'all watch this clip. Don't worry about how I look. Her response may have been quiet, but it spoke volumes.
So we're basically just saying she's handling this gracefully. Clearly she's not stealing, but, you know.
Not me waking up to seeing Nara Smith getting canceled for stealing somebody else's content. My fear is that we made the wrong person TikTok famous, so I went back to the other creators' account and watched the past 8 months of all their videos, because I wanted research. And she said it's been happening for a while now. So I to seeing Nara Smith getting canceled for stealing somebody else's content. My fear is that we made the wrong person TikTok famous, so I went back to the other creators' account and watched the past 8 months of all their videos, because I wanted research. And she said it's been happening for a while now. So I was like, okay, first of all, amazing content. Farm-to-table content is one of those things I absolutely love, so immediate follow. She had a couple recipes on there that I'll absolutely be trying. What I couldn't find was the correlation between her and Nara Smith. Is the correlation in the room with us? Like, I didn't know, but I couldn't find it. And so my fear is that people are going to immediately jump on the cancellation of Nara Smith because they just, in general, don't like a Black woman at the level of success that she's in. However, once this all dies down, people are going to want to see receipts. Could you please provide us with frame-by-frame comparisons or examples of where she stored her content, like side by side, so we can really look at it? Because I really tried to objectively look at your content, and even though you absolutely gained a follow, I couldn't find the correlation. So I fear that people are going to start asking questions. So just be prepared.
That's what I was saying. There's no correlation in style. There's just basic recipes, and I'm saying basic not in a derogatory way, but more like mozzarella, boba. Like, those are not recipes that someone created. Mozzarella's from Italy. Boba, where is boba from? Tapioca pearls that give bubble tea its name were originally made from starch from introduced to Taiwan from South America during Japanese colonial rule. So I'm sure this recipe was not created by Onezwa or Nara Smith. So I think that's kind of where I find the issue. There is new drama though. Okay, we have the Marc Jacobs situation. So Nara did a Marc Jacobs handbag ad on the Marc Jacobs TikTok page. Here it is.
A delicious red Marc Jacobs tote bag since I woke up. So instead of going a delicious red Marc Jacobs tote bag since I woke up. So instead of going to the store to buy one, I thought I would make it myself. Started by mixing my flour, eggs, and water to make the dough, all in one bowl so there weren't too many dishes. Added red food dye to my dough to give it a rich, true red color. I started kneading the dough with my hands to make sure it was silky smooth. Next, I grabbed a rolling pin to roll out the dough and started to cut out the pieces of my tote. I popped it in the oven and baked it for about an hour. When I went to the oven to check on my tote, it was perfectly risen and red, so I took it out to cool. It tasted so much better than a shop-bought tote bag. This one really hits the spot.
And this video has over 2 million likes, so you can imagine it's got like a bunch of views. The tote bag made from scratch by Nara Smith. Okay, well, this is marketing. Whoever came up with this, give him a raise now. This is the post of them all, the small to large, iconic. That blew up, obviously. People thought it was great marketing. However, a smaller creator posted a similar video for Marc Jacobs ages ago, and that's because they did an ad with her for a free handbag. So they gave her a free handbag in exchange for her doing this ad, whereas they paid Nara Smith for this ad. Allegedly, I think they would have paid her. So this is what she posted ages ago. So I'm gonna have to silence that because it was it had Lana Del Rey Cherry in it, but Baked and Glazed creative directing, and this was in 2023, end of 2023 that she posted this. Someone said, okay, I scrolled all the way down to your profile to find this. Marc Jacobs just posted a video of Nara Smith doing this exact same concept. I was like, I'm pretty sure Mary did the same thing. Where is the Nara Smith Defense Force? Did you direct Nara ad for Marc Jacobs? Because it's crazy to me if they blunt copied the idea. You did it first. Please pin this to your page. You deserve the flowers. Bar for bar. I agree. It's very close. Now, I originally thought when I saw this drama happening that it was posted on Nara Smith's TikTok. Instead, this was an ad directed by Marc Jacobs for the Marc Jacobs TikTok page featuring Nara Smith. So I don't know how much of an input Nara Smith had into this creative direction, if they told her this is where we got this idea from, or if they just worked with Mary ages ago, gave her a handbag, she did this video, they saw that it was a really cool idea but it didn't get the buzz. They then took that idea, made it more Nara Smith-esque with her actually making the dough and stuff, and then she just kind of went along and did it. So I don't know how much of this is Nara Smith's doing versus Marc Jacobs just being crappy, right? So this is what she says about this whole situation. She posted a few TikToks about it just to explain. There's this one. She says, damn, sucks when creators stop being creative.
Been tagged and DM'd so much from the Marc Jacobs and Nara Smith video that was posted this morning. A lot of people defending me, which I'm so thankful for, saying that I did this concept back in December, which I did. I never think one person owns an idea or owns a concept. We are all in this creative field and we all take different versions of this concept and make it our own. However, I do feel like it wasn't made her own. There's actually 2 videos that I feel like she took from me and made it to be one video for Marc Jacobs. The video that a lot of my friends are referring to when they're tagging me is this video that I made back in December. There's lots of similarities, but you're right, it's not the same across the board. I'm pretty disappointed in Marc Jacobs though, because I was sent this bag to make this. I made this as a gifting collab. The reason why I'm kind of upset is because it's literally half of this video and then the last half of the last video, which is Nara's video. And Nara was tagged in this video, so I know she's probably seen it, and I know Marc Jacobs has probably seen the last video. So I'm kind of upset that they let that one slide. Like I said before, I am in the creative field. Like I this is what I do. I know people don't own this concept. I know Nara makes cooking videos and she's also into fashion, so it's not a stretch. In the end, I think the biggest thing that makes me sad and disappointed is that there's so many people in the comments saying that like Marc Jacobs' marketing team is a creative genius or Nara is a creative genius. Reading those comments make me really happy because deep down I'm like, oh, that's kind of, it's almost like they're talking about me. But yeah, my videos didn't even reach 1,000 views. So Marc Jacobs and Nara are getting a lot of praise. And it just, this is the world we live in and it's kind of sad. But that's my 2 cents. Those are my 2 videos. I do feel like there's a lot of similarities, but I'm not mad. It's gonna be okay. We're all gonna live.
I don't know when that stopped recording. I think I was on the edge, so maybe I'm just gonna show you guys the 2 TikToks that she posted because I don't know when this stopped recording, so that'll probably just insert those in there. And then this is the 3rd TikTok that she posted. So since everyone in Marc Jacobs' comments are saying Marc Jacobs and Nara Smith are creative marketing geniuses, does that make me the creative marketing genius? And if so, you might be interested to know I run my own design and creative agency trying to work together. So if you guys want to give her some love and you need anyone that is a creative director, let her know. And then she also posts this.
I'm not trying to make this whole thing my personality, but I do want to make something clear. There are a lot of creators out there. There are a lot of unique ideas. Some are original and some are not. Some are authentic and some are not. I really hope someday social media can actually pinpoint who are the creators that put in hours and hours of work to think of something that's original and new and never been seen before. I'm not necessarily saying that video was like never been done before because I don't know if it has. I just thought of it in my brain and I did it. But I'm a designer. I literally went to design school to think creatively, and I literally do brainstorming sessions every single morning to get my brain thinking. I kid you not, I put in hours of work just thinking creatively. There is a lot of buzz, there's a lot of noise out there, but I do want to make it clear that there are people out there that think of original, authentic, creative ideas. And I hope
this is all the drama we've got, from the weird baby names to wearing designer to cook and these like obscure ideas to allegedly stealing from a farm style influencer to allegedly stealing this Marc Jacobs collab. How much of this do you think is actually Nara Smith being a bad person or a bad influencer or not being authentic? How much of this is her fault compared to how much of this is kind of blown out of proportion because she's as massive as she is? Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe, hit the bell icon for engagement. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.